of course, the most dominant defensive player of the 80s, Lawrence Taylor with the Giants.
I think the Giants are pretty happy they wound up with the greatest defensive player who has ever lived.
Montana back to throw.
Most dominant defensive player of all time.
I never meant to be so bad to you.
You know what? It took Cam 3 years to figure it out, and I'm already seeing it. Dak Prescott, who figured it out.
Second quarter here with Prescott dancing away, escaping. Down the sideline he goes.
If you told me at the start of the year that the Cowboys were going to go to Lambeau, there's no Tony and there's no Des Bryant, I would have said, how many are they going to lose, Mike?
At 11-2. They're not turning to Tony Romo right now. The best record in the NFL.
A year ago, the NFC East was the laughingstock of the league. What a difference a season makes.
Zeke the Freak?
He's got world-class speed and enormous strength, coupled with surprisingly supple coordination.
Jackson wears baseball and football, and you did football.
Leading on, the American League's top vote getter of 1989, Bo Jackson.
That Bo down there, that's a pretty interesting hobby he has for his vacation. When baseball ends, he winds up playing football.
The dude hit 32 homers and was an all-star for the Royals, and he was a Pro Bowl running back.
1989 Major League Baseball All-Star game. He led off the game with a monster homer off Rick Russell, named MVP.
There's Bo Jackson. He reverses, comes back, gets a block.
He clocked a 4.1240. Still the fastest 40 ever recorded in combine history.
Ahead. You will most certainly be the most scrutinized rookie in the history of the NBA.
LeBron James making his much-awaited NBA debut. I tell you, boy, you talk about pressure. Is he going to be able to handle it?
Can he handle it? We just don't know.
Oh, my goodness.
He is averaging 26, 8, and 9.
How old is he? 12?
Already this year's team owns the franchise record for wins, and they've clinched the best record in the East.
He's still only 18 years and 8 months old. Can he live up to all the hype?
No one can live up to this type of hype.
A.J. Green, Antonio Brown, and these boys, they're big time as well, but they ain't Megatron. They're not on his level.
He's going. Calvin Johnson being chased by 4 Cowboys. Scott Lanahan says, look, here are your options. You can go to Calvin Johnson, you can go to Calvin Johnson, or you can go to Calvin Johnson. Calvin Johnson reaches out and makes the catch.
A combination of size, weight, speed, jumping ability. We've never seen anything like that. I've never seen a receiver like Calvin Johnson.
This is the consummate Calvin Johnson. 2 people draped all over him. Calvin Johnson, 329 yards receiving.
I actually forget his name is Calvin Johnson. I'm so used to calling him Megatron.
He playing Megatron. Y'all know what Megatron can do.
We are here at Ford Field getting set for the 12th all-time meeting between these two franchises, featuring once again number 81 Calvin Johnson in there.
You just don't have the nickname Megatron just to have Megatron, man. If anybody just been growing up on the Transformer days, man, Megatron is a beast.
You gotta be real careful playing man-to-man against Megatron.
My name is Optimus Prime.
What an incredible interception by Ryan.
Yeah, that one goes into the time capsule. You won't see a better one than that.
I'm sitting right there. Okay, I got him. Yoink.
At the 29. In on the blunt in this game for the Thunder.
To me, he was so great late last night in that game that he rendered the Deflategate saga irrelevant.
But that was mythical. That's Halo stuff. That's Zaire. That's 104 hitting jumpers. It's the first time I walked out and I'm like, he's floating to that locker room.
And he was as great as you could possibly be. In the history of pro football, who's had a fourth quarter?
No.
You know what my favorite ring is? The next one. That's my favorite.
A touchdown and a title for the Patriots!
I can't believe it!
They have completed the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history. Led by the greatest quarterback in Super Bowl and NFL annals.
34-28, the final in overtime.
Big hit by Ray Lewis.
Bam! It was over.
What sound do they make when Cam Chancellor tackles them to the ground?
Like an antelope makes as a lion rips his throat.
Elo looks. Elo into Nance. Back to Elo. He drives. He scores! Elo drove it right down the wing and scores! 100-99 with 3 seconds to play.
Now Chicago has 3 seconds to try to win it.
The Cavs were just 3 seconds away from eliminating the upstart Bulls. But those 3 seconds would have an impact for years to come.
Here's our story here at Richfield Coliseum. One of these teams will advance to the Eastern Conference semifinals against the New York Knicks. The Bulls have 3 seconds to try a shot and try to win the game. You'll see the drama unfold.
The thing that made Michael so special, he did it on the highest level.
He's an individual that is universally recognized as one of and arguably the greatest basketball player that we have ever seen, a 6-time champion.
And this fall, man, this is very tough. And this fall, I'm going to take my talents to South Beach and join the Miami Heat.
Henceforth, you shall be known as Darth Vader.
You were the chosen one!
Pass at the side of the backboard, another Kings turnover, a chance to run.
Well, they got what they paid for tonight, baby. That's what they came to see.
And when you look and now start to compare the notes, it tells you about that gene you always talk about. Yep. That Michael has, that you got to question now whether or not LeBron really has it.
The Miami Heat are once again NBA champions. LeBron James captures that elusive title he so desperately coveted.
What's the first thing that ran through your mind? It's about damn time.
He's John with Steve Smith here. Never a good idea. Janoris Jenkins.
Obviously, his first time ever using the internet and Google. And he Googles information about me.
Janoris Jenkins, I would be telling him if I'm his coach, look, you are not going to win this battle.
And there's a certain line you don't cross. That dude crossed that line.
He's got Janoris Jenkins thinking more about what he's going to say to Steve Smith than how he's going to
talks about my wife and stuff like that. And that's kind of some of the bull just don't play with.
Steve Smith doesn't play that game, so he doesn't want it played with him.
Steve Smith one-on-one with Janoris Jenkins, the guy he's been John with all day long. Touchdown! And the Steve Smith show underway here. 19-yard touchdown.
So he can take his ass back to St. Louis and watch the film, because I don't play them games. And if I see him in the street, I'm gonna bust him in his mouth.
I don't know how tall he is. Let's say 5'10", but he is made of steel.
You have to be a man. No excuses. The world doesn't care. If you want something, you go out and earn it. And you go out and get it.
How do you not love number 11? The Iron Man. Can't stop him.
Everybody missed him on a single play. All 11 of us missed him.
What a job Barry Sanders. This is the best back in football.
Barry Sanders was the absolute hardest out, period.
Play clock at 8. Manning in the shotgun. Where to his left. 2 deep safeties. Manning back to throw. He's one deep down the right side. It's a jump ball deflected.
Good dexterity and good hand-eye coordination there.
And it's caught after being tipped and cruised to the end zone.
And he does the samba in the end zone.
Barry Sanders has the best runs for losses in NFL history.
No matter what year, you can say 1920 and you can say 2012, he will still be best running back in the NFL any given time.
Nobody else can do that.
Oh, mama, I can hear you crying. You're so scared all alone.
It's the ferocity of the hit which defines it.
You shouldn't be able to be that big, that young, and that fast.
Take me down to the paradise city where the grass is green and the girls are red.
Tremendous hit by Deshaun Goldson. JD going to give it to Ibaka at the elbow off the heel of the iron. You will bow down before me!
What a shot!
In October of 2010, in the midst of his 4th NFL season, Lynch was traded by the Bills to the Seattle Seahawks.
Will people remember how this guy ran the football? Or will they just go look at a spreadsheet and look at the numbers?
Marshawn Lynch! Still on his feet! Get off me, he said. Has blockers now. He's dancing his way for the touchdown.
Well, the Seattle Times is saying that all the jumping that happened caused a 1 or 2 magnitude earthquake.
So let's start playing. I'm the Raiders. I'm Bo Jackson. Bye-bye.
See, Peter, he's too fast.
You gotta tackle me. It's B. You gotta press B.
I'm pressing B. He's too fast.
Going over here? Going over here now?
Bo Jackson also played professional baseball. Shut up, Joe. Everybody knows that.
A touchdown! Yeah! I won the game, and now I'm gonna jump Bo Jackson!